I think that communication, the saying it takes a team. It really does. And the communication, like any good relationship, has to be open. Everybody needs to understand where they are in the process. And I think having a good lender really helps with that.
Hello, I'm Brenda Alfano. Welcome to Mortgage Mysteries, where I highlight and solve the mysteries of local small business owners of South Snohomish County. Today, my guest is Lori DaSilva, who is a real estate agent. Lori, welcome.
Hello.
Great to have you here today. Lori and I have been working together for, I don't know if it's 5 or 6 years, Lori, but quite a while for our mutual clients. Yeah. How long?
I think it's 6.
I think so too. I didn't want to be presumptive, right? And think it was more than less. But anyway, so before we get started, I'm going to jump into and hear all about Lori and her business and her mysterious side. I'm going to jump in with my why question that I have every week, because we know I'm so curious. So here's the question. Why do people like paned windows in their homes? So I asked that question because I don't like them. Because they obscure the view. But Lori, you're a real estate agent, so what do you think?
Well, for me personally, it depends. I think it adds a bit of interest to the window to have the pane windows. But if I have a view of something that I want to have just a clear view of, I prefer no panes. Because I want the full view.
Is that what, when you are working with clients, is that something that they like? Do they put on their list of things they like?
They don't usually bring that up, actually. The only time I've had it brought up is when somebody has had like a mountain view or a water view. Other than that, they don't typically ask.
I'm probably the only weird one that thinks about these things. But plus, in the old days when the panes were outside the windows.
Yes.
What a pain! No pun intended. But what a pain to clean.
Exactly. But you know why they started putting panes in? Because back in the day, it was more difficult to do a large piece of glass.
Right.
That's why they used to put panes in, just because it was more difficult.
That makes such sense. There we go. A little bit of a trivia history for you guys out there about the real estate world.
There you go.
There you go. So Lori, okay. So We're here. We want to know all about you, your business. So, let us know, like, how long have you been doing this? Do you specialize in any part of your business? Why you do it? That sort of stuff.
Okay. Well, I have been in business. I'm into my 7th year. Part of the reason I got into the business, my husband and I were buying investment properties, and I just really enjoyed the process of the purchasing side. I learned a lot just purchasing properties. And I finally made a decision that it was a career that I actually wanted to get into. People were oftentimes asking me questions. My husband and I did a lot of remodel work in our own home, and people were asking for advice. And then they started asking, what would be best down the road if they were thinking about selling. And I just thought it was a great opportunity to actually get my license. So
there you go. And so you've had your license now for
little over 7 years.
7 years. That's what confused me. I wasn't sure if I knew we had 1 year we hadn't worked together of your career, and I didn't realize we're at 7 now. So there you go.
Yes.
Wow, that's great. So tell me some of the favorite parts of what you do.
Oh gosh. Some of the favorite parts, I come from a merchandising background. And so I think giving advice, to people as far as interior work that they could probably do to make improvements. I love the education piece of helping people learn about real estate and what the current market is. It changes all the time.
Yeah.
Laws are constantly changing, but I really love that part of it, and I love the education piece of it.
And so do you prefer working with buyers or sellers, or do you even have a preference?
I like working with both because each experience is different. I think the creative side of me likes the selling side, the listing side, only because I love staging. Again, that's my merchandising background. I I do a lot of gardening and landscaping on my own, and I just think there's a creative side of me that really enjoys the listing side. The buyer side is just totally different. That's where, I mean, there's education on both sides, but it's kind of a thrill when you can get a buyer to find that home. So I like both. I think I do really well on the list side, though.
When you brought up the staging, what are the pros and cons of staging? How important is staging, would you say? And maybe explain what staging is for people who've never done this before.
Okay. So staging is basically preparing your home for showing. It's meant to create emotion when a buyer first enters your home. So sometimes it means depersonalizing the home, taking out personal pictures and things like that, just enough so people can envision themselves in that space. And furniture placement, that type of thing. Sometimes I do, if the home is vacant, sometimes I will bring furniture in, and prints and all the accessories. If somebody's still living there, it might mean editing some furniture and maybe just adding some other layers to what they already have. Oftentimes they say, and I can't remember, I want to say it's maybe 6% more, but there's a certain percentage that staging tends to help with price, or, the offer price of a home.
I was going to ask that question. Is there any stat on that? Because I know that there's, people are very adamant about it, how important staging is. And I know there's science behind that.
Yes.
So other than staging, I know, because I've worked with you for several years now, as we've determined, that you are an extraordinary agent, in my opinion. And I have lots of agents, and most of my agents are really, really good agents, but you really, really go above and beyond.
Thank
Actually,
you.
with everything you do, Lori, because you're just that kind of a person. It's all a good thing. So I know you go above and beyond with your clients.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of agents do. So I'm not going to say that it's
right.
What would you say when agents go above and beyond, including yourself? What does that really mean sometimes? Can you give us some examples?
Well, for me, it means I really try to get to know my clients, and going through the process. Maybe it's identifying something that they're feeling nervous about, or maybe they're having a hard time getting started with the whole editing or packing. I've been known to buy, packing boxes and packing material for people. Sometimes I've sat with them and actually helped them pack some things that kind of gets them going or feels more comfortable about packing. I've actually helped people paint. I've helped paint a bedroom because they were feeling like they were falling behind. I've done yard work. I love yard work. But, and some of this is, depending on how much time I have also, but I really try to figure out what's stressing them out and if there's anything I can do to help. Sometimes it's just, I've got all kinds of vendors I can reach out to as well, from painters, landscapers, things like that. But I think it's really just trying to figure out what's going to make my client happy. So
it's about listening to your clients and and sometimes helping them figure out what it is they actually need, right? Just by spending time. Now, and I also know that you're really good with the real estate contract, which is a definite bonus. So how would you say you help your clients with that part to the above and beyond? Because I know you do.
I like to sit down with them and really, so with a seller, I'll sit down with them and I will kind of explain the process of a transaction. I show them certain forms. I walk them through the forms. And then even when they have offers coming in, it's really sitting down and making sure that they understand what the buyer is asking for. And like on the buyer side, it's understanding when they're going to make an offer, what are the pros and cons of what they're going to offer on a property. I just like to take a lot of time with that and make sure that they understand, because it's a big purchase.
And that contract is legally binding.
Yes, it is. I tend to, dot my I's and cross my T's because it's really important. So
Very important. And I would just want to throw in here, because I've worked with Lori so many times, I know how well she works with her clients, but what's on top of that, she also works really well with the lender. And since I'm the lender for some of her transactions, I don't think people realize how important it is for you and I to work closely together to help our client.
right.
Would you say the same?
Oh yeah. I think that communication, the saying it takes a team. It really does. And the communication, like any good relationship, has to be open. Everybody needs to understand where they are in the process. And I think having a good lender like you really helps with that. So,
Yeah. And we got to work for our client. That's the important part. So
yes,
they're
indeed.
protected and get, understood and things like that. Is there anything else on the real estate side you'd like to throw in there today?
As far as what's coming up in the future or what clients are.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a second. But anything you would like to talk about that you feel sets you apart from other agents in particular? Besides, I know how thorough you are.
That sets me apart. I just want to say that I really do take a lot of time with my clients. We always have professional photography. They're going to really understand what the market is about. I am there to help them achieve the goal. I do have lengthy conversations with my clients about their goals and how they're going to achieve them. And sometimes that means, even with a buyer, when you're out looking for a home, we've talked about what their wants and needs are. And sometimes they'll see something and maybe it doesn't really fit on what they were telling me, but sometimes I rein people back into the original conversations, even on the selling side, what they're trying to really achieve from that sale. So
you're going at it from a big picture and trying to take
correct.
the emotion out of it, which is not easy to do for the people behind. Like there's a lot of emotion there. Well, I want to thank you for that part. I want to get to know you, let other people get to know your mysterious side a little bit. So what does what does Lori do when she's not doing real estate?
Well, typically, depending on weather, you'll probably find me out in the yard. Mm-hmm. I love gardening. I love landscaping. I do a lot of my own work. I don't know. There's just something very creative about being out in the garden. I do like to draw and paint quite a bit also. I love anything creative. Sometimes on the work side, I love taking classes and educating myself so it better serves my client. But really, I think my heart is anything that is creative. I'll try crafts. I like home remodel. My husband highly believes that, I should know how to use tools. And I've actually installed wood floors in our previous home, and I like it. So, yeah.
Now, you're never afraid to get your hands dirty. That's for sure.
No.
So bringing it back to gardening, how long, what started your interest in gardening? I mean, how did you get introduced to it as a child? Did you pick it up after you owned your first home? How did that happen?
Oh, I think I was introduced as a child. Also in high school, I had taken horticulture classes. So I got a little more information like that, but I really think it started with my grandfather on his little farm, and something really intrigued me about digging potatoes or picking fresh peas. We used to pick, all the vegetables for our dinner that night. So I think really it's probably where it stemmed from.
So when you say gardening, though, then, okay, that brought to my mind with what you just said. At your own home, I think of gardening often as flowers and plants, but do you also grow vegetables?
I do. I have a vegetable garden. Vegetable garden is a little bit newer now that I've moved to a location where I actually can grow vegetables, where I have more sun. I'm kind of experimenting with that, but oh gosh, it's interesting because I literally can, in the summer, spring and summer, I can go out and pick all the fixings for a salad, or all summer long I made pico de gallo and my own salsa. It's very satisfying.
Yeah, that is kind of fun.
Yes.
I'm not into gardening like you are, but I have planted lettuce and things like that, and it's like it's fun to go out and harvest your salad.
It is. It's healthy, you know.
I'm not into gardening like you are. I am into crafts like you are. So when you mentioned painting, though, what type of painting do you like to do? I assume you mean art painting, like
Yes.
oil.
I used to do a lot of acrylics. I was fascinated with Disney caricatures when I was young. And I used to sit there and practice drawing them all the time. That was a big thing. I think at one point when I was younger, I wanted to work for Disney.
Oh, cool.
So,
I didn't realize you that.
but I think, you know, the painting, like I love, like during the holidays, I paint my own Christmas ornaments. I kind of have my own design, and I do that every year. But when I have time, you know, it's more of an art piece, I guess.
Cool. Because I mean, we can talk to painting, and you might like to paint a room, but which is satisfying in its own way.
I do that too.
What's that?
I do that too. I paint.
I know.
I find something very satisfying painting rooms in my home. I guess I like the way it makes me feel. It makes my house look different. It's not that expensive, and it's just something I really enjoy.
I agree. It's clean. So with your gardening passion, your art passion, your creative passion, I think I already know the answer to this question. How do you feel? Do you feel any of that helps you in your real estate business?
Oh, definitely. I think even having the merchandising background, I think it really helps to walk into somebody's home. And if they're trying to get it on market, like what are some little things they can do that maybe aren't really super expensive? It's probably just a matter of, sometimes it's, you know, how does the room make me feel when I walk in? And so, you know, it helps with furniture placement. I used to do photography as well, actually. And so I think, you know, that falls into it also. When you get a room staged, I oftentimes take my own pictures to see what it's going to look like in the listing photos. So it's kind of all about balance with the room, and color, how it makes you feel, or what might appeal to the masses. But I think all of that has helped me.
That's great. That's fun. It's fun to be able to merge your working lot, your vocation with your avocation. I think sometimes it's nice to know that
it makes it feel like it makes it feel like it's not always just work, you know.
Exactly. So we mentioned at the beginning that we've worked together for several years now. And I'm a lender, you're a real estate agent, so we're a perfect fit for each other. We're coming into 2024, and we're seeing the shift again in the market, both in rates, not so much in prices. But what are your clients talking about when they're thinking about the mortgage world, rates, things like that?
I have active buyers right now. I think people are easing into what the rates are right now. I think a few years ago, what we had at the 2% and 3% was an anomaly. But I think people are kind of settling into the rates as they are. But with my buyers, you know, the bottom line with them is they need to buy a home. I think there is buyer demand out there. They're just kind of getting used to things, and they're starting to look now. Thing is, we still have a shortage of homes, an inventory issue. But I noticed with the buyers that I'm helping that they're paying a higher interest rate. They're also taking time to get the home that they want. They're not jumping in panicked. They're willing to wait till they find something that they like. So.
which is good. I mean, it really, to me, that seems smart.
Yeah.
And it's not this hectic, I just have to have a home kind of a thing.
Yes.
They're thinking through. It seems to me that my clients, which
Mhm.
are often your clients too, are
Yeah.
they're taking their time. They're making smart decisions. They're still going to get what they want, but it's going to, they're not having to feel as rushed. It's not like there's still multiple offers. We know that, but the rates have helped. And I know that we feel rates are going to come down, and that
Right.
we've already seen a little dip. We want to be careful with that because we see dips sometimes and then they come popping back up.
Right.
But I think it's making people get active again. I feel so. So for 2024, what is your gut feeling about what's going to happen?
My gut is that buyers will, there's a demand. I think buyers will continue to look for homes. They may take a little bit longer to get into them. I still feel that rates, at least what a lot of the experts are saying, could go down a little bit more. I don't think drastically, but I think they will kind of dip a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think multiple offers like spring. I think you'll see multiple offers in homes that are about in the 400 to 600,000 range, because that's kind of what everybody can afford.
Right.
So there's still multiple offers happening, not crazy like they were. I mean, I don't think you're going to see 20 offers like we used to when they were 2 and 3% interest rates, but I think you'll see, some multiple offers depending on the property. And it's also area specific too. So with sellers, I think there's a lot of sellers out there that I think we're not ready to make a move because, they got this great interest rate and I think they were just afraid to move. But the bottom line, you've got people that are downsizing or need to.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people moving closer to family, so they're moving out of town. I think they're starting to think about that more. And home values, the values have been holding. So there's still a lot of value in their home. And a lot of people have a lot of equity in their home. Yes. So I think you will see some seller activity also. Also because the inventory is low. And I think, technically it's still a seller's market. So
Right. And I agree with you. I think it'll start shifting a bit, especially towards mid-year. That's kind of
yes.
who I'm listening to, which aren't the people you hear on the news, by the way. People who really, really do intense study of things. Now, no one has the crystal ball, but we've already seen a bit of a dip. And I think all it's going to take is just a little bit more, and people will just go, okay, this is what it's going to be.
Right.
I can do this. I can afford to do this. And because, like you said, house prices are still going up in general.
Right.
So not everybody, and when we're talking, because we're talking Snohomish County for us, mostly.
Correct.
Or Puget Sound region. So obviously we can't speak for the rest of the country, but it just seems to be going that way. I know myself, there's been a lot more activity the last couple of weeks, even though it's December.
Yes.
That's what's interesting. I mean, there's people always say, oh, December's so slow. It's like, well, not when people really want to buy.
That's right. That's right.
On the market, they'll still buy it. So
yeah. And I say, the media, I think, exaggerates certain situations. I would say don't necessarily listen what the media is saying. They might be speaking nationwide, or I just think there's a lot of controversy in what they say sometimes. I think it's better if you do talk to an agent in your area or even a lender, because your lender and your agent are really going to know what's going on in your specific area. So don't always listen. And I had somebody the other day tell me, oh, my house is losing value. I saw in Zillow that it had dipped. No. Certain websites use algorithms, and your home price, depending on the day, is going to look like this, depending what's sold. There's a lot of things involved with an algorithm. So again, the only way you're really going to know the value of your home is, by talking to an agent probably and doing a market analysis.
I mean, a professional agent like yourself is such an asset to have in one's back pocket, for sure. To know what, to really know the pulse on the market, someone who's full time, who this is their livelihood, their career, their passion.
Right.
I know it's your passion. So those of you that are listening out there, please, keep that in mind. Talk to the people who really know what's going on, and
Yes.
that's true of any profession. No, you don't even talk to a bricklayer about a chimney. I mean, about putting in a pool necessarily.
Right.
What do they know about the pool? They're not. But anyway, so just to remind people to talk to the people who know what's really going on, who live it every day like we do. So, well,
Right.
Lori, thank you so much for being here today. This was a great conversation. I'm sure we'll be giving some value to people, and it was so good to know more about what you do.
Thank you.
And discover more about you. So, and thank you everybody who tuned in today. I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and find me at curiousbrenda.com. And we will see you guys next time. And Lori, again, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.